Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux with another supporter stream. We're going to transition, everybody. Everybody go to Boston Children's Hospital and transition. Never mind. Just an FYI, guys. I mean, I got to throw a couple of those in there every now and again because, you know, I had somebody leave a comment. You're on Rumble? Who knew? I'm out of here. I don't need to listen to your right-wing conspiracy theorists. Because I'm on Rumble? I mean, I really started streaming over there, making a bigger deal about it when YouTube booted me off for talking about an application that's available in the Google Play Store. So if you want to tell me a good alternative that's not connected to right-wing conspiracy theorists, I'll think about it. But in the meantime, you can find me over on Rumble as well, and we just crossed 1,000 subscribers on Rumble. Thank you, everybody. Only 4 watching over there right now, so that's good. And we only have 6 on Odyssey, so Rumble is catching up to Odyssey on this stream. And I just peaked on my mics. Let me turn me down a little bit. Hopefully I won't peak again. And we got, like, YouTube said 6 a moment ago when we started, or said 20 when we started, and now we're down to like 6. So maybe everyone's just abandoning, or everyone just left because I'm on Rumble. I'm a right-wing conspiracy theorist.
So they went to Odyssey.
Yeah, oh, they did. Well, let's see. There's only 6 on Odyssey right now that I'm seeing.
The real reason that they are leaving is that both right wing and Rumble starting on R. So that's the problem.
There you go. I mean, you need to do that, I guess. We got the T-shirt on. I got up north. I get like super far north so I can get out of the summer heat, and we have record temperatures. It hit 90 today. The van is like, it dropped to 35°C. It's hot in here, so. And I did have the door open a lot of the day too, so kind of crazy. We did drop a video. I think it was like a Tuesday video went out on Tux Traveler, and I think YouTube got confused and didn't show it to anybody because like every other video I drop it out within a day. I'm 100, 200 views on that channel. Yeah. I don't think we have 30 yet. So if you did miss that one, I think what happened is I'm trying to get videos on each of the channels. I'm trying to get videos ahead in the queue. To take off pressure that day, which is actually resulting in a lot better quality videos. And I put it out and I actually pushed it live, and then within a minute I canceled the live and I put it onto scheduled, and then it hit live and nobody saw it, or they're not reporting the proper views.
You know what? It's not even in my notification bell, because if I click on that bell, it'll have everything that I'm belled for, and you're belled for that channel. And so you're not in with the bells.
It's possible because I accidentally hit publish and then I took it off and scheduled it. It's possible that completely screws with the algorithm.
The last Tux Traveler that got belled was 2 hikes in Rockland.
That might have been it. I think that might have been it.
Wow, that was 4 days ago.
Yeah, what happened is it pinged on Sunday because I edited the video and uploaded it on Sunday, and instead of scheduling it, I actually pinged it, like published it, and then I withdrew the publish and put it on schedule, and I think it went out, notified, and then it went private so nobody saw it. I think that's probably what happened, but whatever.
I do watch those so I can keep track of you.
Yeah. So, I'll get the Michigan ones in, I don't know, maybe 3 months or so. I'm actually I think I'm only like 2 months behind now, maybe less. I might only be like maybe a month behind, just because I did not film a lot over the summer. And so I have one more video from June, and I don't think I filmed anything in July. And then we start in on the August trips. So yeah, we're moving on to that, and tomorrow's video on that channel is going to be about how I plot and plan my stuff. So head on over to youtube.com/TuxTraveler. You'll find it on over there. All right, let's check in on comments. Got a computer from Current Build saying it came with Ubuntu, now running Debian. Want to buy a computer with Linux pre-installed there. And that was Eli in the Wolverine State. Greetings. Actually,
that looks funny. I'm walking across the bridge with a cup of coffee.
I was?
No, Solvo was.
Oh, Solvo was. Oh. Yeah. Let me see if I can get.
He's walking across the command center with a cup of coffee. It looks like he's actually in there with the people.
Yeah, it was great.
I could see it very briefly on the small screen, but then the video cut out. Oh well. Yes, I don't know. Anyway, let's see. How to pick a computer. Start with how much you can spend, then ask what your needs and wants. There you go. That's kind of the direction we're going. Kelvin, how's it going there? Junk today will barely get the job done. Go used if you have to in order to get at least the level up. There you go. Having said that, get something for free or super cheap. It can make it work with Linux, all the better. Absolutely. That's a good way to do it. And Commodore fan, I think you left the comment on the video about Sparky Raspberry Pi. I left a reply over there. If you're looking for emulation and like TV type resources, emulation station for emulation and LibreElec, which features the K word, but we're not going to talk about that. Let's see. Hello, Moonbase Alpha Grays. Take me to... No, don't take me to your leader. That guy's a lunatic. He might sniff my hair. Well, maybe I'm not. I'm not a little girl. But I'm a right-wing conspiracy theorist, so it's okay. I do have to say that System 76 is kind of a ripoff. All right. Calvin is talking about the kitty condition. Seriously need to get that cat some help. I know. Greetings, Ivan. And on the stream as well. All right. Raspberry V says, meow. Dota 2 would work with APU. There you go. Need to make good stuff, but I have to agree. The cat pox. Having said that, I'd get a laptop from them. Poor kitty. He's not a guinea pig. No, he's not a guinea pig. He's not involved in the trials. I think we can actually talk about the fact that all those trials we got the community strike for a long time ago are actually, you can talk about that stuff now. They're not retroactively taking away the fake community strikes that I was right 2 years ago, but whatever. But
right, this is getting too weird.
It's all good. How to pick a computer? Is it Linux? Any computer will do, most likely run than any others. It's been thunderstorms here. There you go. 112 in California. Oh boy. Yeah, it's been pretty hot over there in California.
Here it's getting cold. It's 3 degrees Celsius outside now.
I would not mind 3 degrees right now, but maybe not too much. All right. We have, let's see, over on YouTube there are 18 watching. On Odyssey we have 9 currently watching. Judge Wapner is on in 15 minutes, says Adrian over on Odyssey. We are co-streaming to YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, and DLive. Looks like we have 3 watching on Rumble, no comments yet. 1 watching on Twitch, no comments yet, and nobody over on DLive. And I have no idea if these are people who just followed me a while ago or whatever else. I'm not sure. Anyway, greetings. Hey,
I'm fighting with my camera.
Oh, okay. Again?
Right. Yeah, it keeps turning on and off all by itself.
Crazy. All right. So topic today, we're talking about how do you go about choosing a computer. And so we're going to, we'll kind of start in with some ideas here. DLive does not erase old messages. Yes, I see that. Which is kind of annoying. I wish I could be like, let's see, can I do this stream? There's options like this month, this stream, all time. Oh, that just tells me about donations and stuff. But yeah, there's no way on DLive to wipe the stream, the comments out. All right, Salbu, what are your early initial thoughts on choosing a computer? What do you look for?
When I always go for an Intel system because they have integrated graphics. So because I don't do any advanced gaming or because my pet peeve is that I need a system that have free drivers for the graphics card, and Intel is still the only one who have free drivers. AMD have free drivers, but in order to use those drivers, you need to load proprietary firmware, and not everyone is comfortable doing that. So a firmware, I can live with firmware, but the driver must be free software. So no NVIDIA drivers for me.
Yeah, NVIDIA is the one holdout, particularly if you want to go with pure Linux, pure open source, or if you just don't want a headache with Linux. NVIDIA is something you want to avoid. It, in theory, is getting a little bit better. Dan,
it's getting a lot. It's getting a lot better with NVIDIA, especially with Debian. You use the non-free thing, and they have a wiki, and you just install a few things. It installs the drivers. I got a RTX 3080 Ti in this machine, and it runs beautifully. But I game, I got to have gaming hardware. But to look for in a computer, if I was going to get a computer to run Linux on, I definitely wouldn't grab one of the newest and latest ones. Especially on the Intel side right now, because they have those performance cores and efficiency cores. And even the gamers on Windows are having problems with that because the games are choosing some of the efficiency cores and they think that it's a performance core and the games crash. And they haven't quite ironed that out and how that's going to work. I think most of the people that are having most of the trouble with that are people on Windows 10, where they have it more resolved than Windows 11. I mean, why go fix the past when you're making the new?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But when
it's
back to Linux, I choose machines that are a couple years old at least. You can always go and get one from System 76 or Tuxedo laptops. They make Linux computers. I got lucky when I bought mine. If you get one that's more for office use or developer use rather than for gaming use, you'll be more prone to get one that'll run Linux just fine. A lot of them computers, though, I've had trouble with two of them that I've purchased that they don't find after you install it, they don't find the boot stuff. You have to go in the BIOS and actually find a section that allow you to direct your BIOS through the boot EFI/EFI/boot and Debian or whatever. It's looking for the shim x64.efe file, the EFI file. Once you have locked your BIOS to that, you will have your BIOS issues and boot issues working fine.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I forgot to turn my fan off before we started. So if there was a low-level hum in the background, my apologies. I know that my microphone can pick that up. Turned it down. I'm just going to melt in here because it is still 35C. Ivan, what are your early thoughts on how to choose a computer?
First, I'd basically be thinking of like, what's my general use case? Do I want to game or do I want to do everything else? Because the two can be separated just like that. Because that basically, it tells me, well, one or the other tells me what kind of hardware and what kind of spec to that hardware are you going to need. It's like use case predicates budget and then take it from there. So,
yeah, that's kind of the things. I didn't write mine down in the specific order that you should look at, but I wrote down 4 basic premises. Let's go ahead, since this is switched to Linux, let's talk about the operating system. Do you have to run something other than Linux, or are you okay with running Linux? That might be the first thing. I mean, obviously, if you have to run Mac OS, it doesn't make sense to build a Hackintosh. I'm not even sure you can build a Hackintosh anymore. The system's been hacked enough to do that at this point. But in a lot of cases, though, you don't have to run the program you're thinking that isn't supported on Linux. You need to accomplish the task that program does. We'll get into that more in a bit with the software, but the operating system itself is the first thing you want to consider. If you want to run Windows 11, you've got to run one of the latest computers. And the same thing, if you need to run Mac for something, then you're going to be locked into Mac, and there's not really way around that. But if you are free to choose your operating system, you can get a used computer. You can pick up one at a garage sale that somebody can't use anymore because it forced the upgrade to Windows 11 and then crashed the whole thing and it became completely unusable. And otherwise, it's a perfectly fine computer. It's not working. because Windows 11. Well, you could take that, wipe it, and put something like
if you're
you know,
planning
Linux
on ever using Windows 11, you're going to have to pick a newer laptop that's got the 2.0 TPM and secure boot that works with Windows 11, or else they got it now so you can hack around it and make it work, but someday they're going to do an update and it's going to break it and you're going to be lost in the dust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other commentary on that? Another fly. I feel like the Lord of the Flies. I think I parked next to like a dead body in the woods today or something because my van got completely full of flies. I've
There is
already
another
killed
use
literally
case.
20 of them.
Oh.
All right.
There is another use case other than the gaming or everything else, as Ivan says. I have my main system I bought in 12 years ago, 10 years ago in December. And I needed it for running, for compiling and running virtual machines. So I have what many would call back then a gaming system. So a gaming system can be used for more than just games because it's really powerful and it has lots of memory. And so if you are one who are developing and have the need to compile a lot or run a lot of virtual machines, then a gaming type system might be the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk about processes then, since that's a good foray into my point here. And I wrote down gaming, photo manipulation. You might need something more mid-grade for that. Video processing, gaming computers work pretty good for that. If you're doing something like, I mean, my day job in web design, I manipulate text files all day. They're text files with a different extension. You know, Raspberry Pi works great. And the reason I wanted to talk about this as well, because we think about getting the right size computer, because think of nothing more than the power stuff. Now, we're going to cover it on the news tomorrow, but everyone's making this big push to electric cars while California's telling people, please don't charge your electric cars.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Yeah. Because we're stressing the power grid. Well, if the power grid is under a lot of stress, if you're running most of your stuff off a Raspberry Pi, this little crappy lithium-ion battery can run a Raspberry Pi for at least 4 or 5 days without any extra charge. Whereas it will barely run my other computer for 5 minutes, you know? And so thinking about the power usage, if all you need to do is manipulate text files and check email and maybe watch a video here and there, you don't need to get something that's super big and draws a ton of power, particularly if your case, I mean, what if we go into some grid down situation? Well, I'll be okay. I'm off grid entirely at this point. I've not plugged in. When's the last time? I don't even remember when the last time was I plugged into a wall.
Well, you know, the powerful computers only eat a lot of power when you do powerful work with them.
Well, not always. My computer, this computer that we're streaming on, when it's not doing any processes, it idles at drawing 100 watts.
That's about what mine draws at when it's just idling.
Doing video processing and things, it'll spike up to 150, maybe 200 watts.
I go up to 750 on a good game.
Correct. That is correct. And if you're doing gaming and stuff like that.
And
well, my Raspberry Pi maxes out at 8. So, you know, when you think about the power that you want to do, and if you want to keep things on, even if it's not like I got to keep my computer on for work and surviving the grid down situation, man, during the zombie apocalypse, you need to take a break and do something fun on your computer. I'm just trying to think about what you guys are going to do in the zombie apocalypse. So, you know, but thinking about the processes that you need your computer to do is going to be a big step in that direction.
I remember reading about someone who said that when the zombie apocalypse started, one thing that he would do just because it sounded fun was to open a laptop or a Raspberry or a low-powered system and play Doom for a few hours.
The Dye Master has 59 solar panels on his roof, and he laughs in the face of the electric company. There's the guy. If you're into any battery technology stuff at all, you should check out Will Prowse's channel on YouTube. He learned all the stuff just himself, tinkering around. He like buys every single lithium battery he can find and cuts them open and sees how they're put together. Well, he's in Las Vegas, and so he's decked out his whole house in solar, and he actually runs Teslas and runs his entire system is, I think, capable of going off grid. I haven't checked as to what his current state is, but I know he runs the vastest majority of his stuff is solar, which you can do in Vegas, and it's probably a good idea in Vegas, being is that it's a place with limited resources. I mean, who would have thought you might have trouble with things in the desert? But But those are the things you want to think about. You don't want to overkill your computer if all you need to do is something basic. But if you need to do gaming, you need a computer that does a lot more. And so you got to think about that with what is the power supply being drawn on your processor and your graphics card. What's the power supply inside of your computer? What can it max out at? I think I have a 700 watt. It's either 650 or 750 watt. I have to look. I forget exactly what I have back there. I have overkill. The only thing I'm plugging into is the motherboard, really, and a few components. But
I mean, I got a variety of laptops that are ancient from 15 years ago up to about 2019. Some of them older laptops that are about 10 years old, if you put something like peppermint on them and they have a DVD drive in them, they make great multimedia personal devices.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not garbage, even though they don't run Windows anymore because they used to have Vista or XP on them. Linux replaces that stuff real quick.
Does a pretty good job at it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So moving on, let's talk about software. Thinking about the software. Now, with the software, I always tell people, be careful because it's not like you don't have to run this software package. You have to accomplish what that software package accomplishes. And so with that, think about, can you change software? In some cases you can, in some cases you can't. You might be locked into some Windows or Mac-based software by nature of your absolute job, and you work for the company, so you can't really do much about it. That's to think about. But for the average person, well, I need to use Photoshop because I need to manipulate my photos from vacation. No, you don't need to use Photoshop for that. No company is telling you have to use Photoshop. There are plenty of open source options on GIMP. And in fact, when I was at camp, one of the guys that was taking photographs for our slideshows is an amateur photographer. So I'm plugging everybody's stuff into my computer because I'm doing the slideshows and stuff and grabbing all the photos. And I pull up his camera. It's all raw files. Oh, that'll be fun. All right. Gives me a chance to learn Darktable. So I download Darktable, and in between things in the kitchen, I'm over there tinkering with Darktable. I know how to use a new software package now. So, you can do a lot of things on Linux. You just have to move out of the frame of, I have to use this software package. No, you have to accomplish what that software package does. And
there is an exception to that. My mother's husband, he retired a few years ago, and he stopped doing consultancy work for his old job this summer, I believe. He was today. The company is called Sintef Ocean. It's a Norwegian science company. They test various new vessels and things that are going in floating in the sea or under the sea and so on in order to. And after they have run this test in a big pool with artificial waves and so on. There is a big data dump that needs to be converted into actual numbers that the customer wants, and so he runs a lot of scripts in order to change those, and he heavily uses Microsoft Excel in order to do this, and he has been doing this for so long, and he does it privately on his Mac. He have the Microsoft Office suite installed. He tried using OpenOffice to run a few of his spreadsheets, and it's just not capable because what he's doing with them. So there are some kinds of types of data gathering that Microsoft Office is really
those
good
would
at.
be
That
would be
Open Office don't do
exceptions.
yet.
Those are
Yeah.
exceptions and not rules. And if he's only tried Open Office has not had feature additions and development for like, was it 5 years at least? So Open Office is not a good place to go to test for compatibility. I mean, you may as well boot up a Windows 95 computer and see how it runs your latest programs.
But this was before LibreOffice came along. But in any case, it was not mature to. So he has.
Sure.
He is one of the corner cases where he cannot change the Office suite.
Yeah, and that's a rarity. And today there's a lot of things which are trying to overcome that compatibility with varying success. The more I'm looking at OnlyOffice, the more I'm thinking, okay, they're just OnlyOffice is being hyped up with affiliates. That is it. I mean, I'm playing around with OnlyOffice quite a bit more as it applies to the writing channel. It is still highly limited, and I don't see it more compatible. The only thing that it has over LibreOffice is it has a UI that more resembles Microsoft Office. Advanced search and replace functions, things like that. It's just, yeah.
You're not tied to Linux to use some of its applications. For example, if you really want to learn how to use GIMP, they have a Windows version. I'm looking at it right now on a browser. You can install GIMP in Windows and kind of slowly migrate from Photoshop and to learn how to use GIMP in its place.
Yeah, I'm actually producing a children's book right now, which I'm going to be publishing through my publishing company. And our artist did all the art by hand and then scanned everything in and did the final bits of manipulation and things on Windows on GIMP. And then they passed those over to me for the stuff. So
awesome.
We are even the people using Windows in the book production process in my company are still using open source software to do it, which is kind of cool. So that's that. Now I have one more thing, but let's go ahead and check in on comments. There's a lot of comments going back and forth here.
Comments.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are people getting ruder on the internet now? I'm noticing a lot. Like, maybe inform next time your co-host how to use a green screen. It's crappy. No, it's not a green screen. It's Jitsy's built-in background feature. So but anyway, I don't know. I guess if you look at the world going on right now and you don't have a lot of hope, I can see how you can get negative. So that's okay. Let's see what else we got. AMD runs fine when it comes to gaming computers, 3 gig processors, and 4 gig BKHD sound card. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Let's see. I agree. Intel is botching it right now. I would not touch the new Intel Arc GPU for a while. All right. Memory on AMD gets tricky. Use only 2 DIMMs in bay 0 or 2 and 1 and 2 and 3. Yeah, you do have to check. I don't know how it is on the Intel boards, but on my AMD board, you got to check the documentation to see where you put the RAM. And even the graphics card has to be in a certain slot, depending on how many of them you're running. So,
top slot of the board.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Intel does the same thing or not. You'd have to tell. Looking at Luis looks at the processor, RAM, video card, everything is personal gimmicks and preferences. There you go. Get the processor with the highest single thread megahertz, mainly for gaming. 8 cores will be good enough for anything. Yeah. Let's see, 2016 through 2019 laptops works best for non-Intel. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a number of laptops here that still work pretty well. Actually, my main backup work computer, there's one of the pins holding the hinge in is messed up. And I look at it like, I'm going to have to open that up, and I actually have to super glue it back together. Eventually, I'll do some computer repair because everything else on the computer works great. Zombie meat, yeah. I built my own computer, although back in the beginning of the 90s, did buy pre-built or two. Yeah, I built computer way in the 90s, and then I bought them, and then my streaming computer is built and hacked on into the van. If you guys have not seen the pictures of how the computer is put into the van, it's quite incredible. It's like a redneck. I took me the motherboard and I put it on I did put the motherboard on a mounting bracket that you use for testing hardware components, and then I literally bungeed that down to a board.
No zip ties?
I did not put zip ties on that component, although there are plenty of zip ties around here.
I'm waiting for
that.
something to get mounted onto a milk crate.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any milk crates handy. I just don't drink a lot of milk.
Oh.
Only open office used to be good, not anymore. I did actually meet an editor for a publishing company that still uses open office instead of the other alternatives, and he says everything works fine for him, so he's not changing anytime soon. I said, well, there's other options out there if they do not work well, but that's okay. All right, we have 20 watching on YouTube. We only have 8 on Odyssey. Odyssey, folks, what is going on over there?
Well, the only
Connie and
reason I'm
Brady-
here is because I'm a mod.
F YouTube, says Salem. Don't you need a fridge? I have a fridge, actually. It's running really hard right now because it's, like extraordinarily hot in here. But yes, I do have a fridge. I have a 12-volt refrigerator in my van. Of course I do. We have 4 watching on Rumble. Is that right? I'm going to refresh Rumble. Let's see. 4 watching on Rumble and no comments over there yet. Guys, over on Rumble, we just crossed 1,000 subscribers. Where are you? They're all
How many do you have on Odyssey?
Odyssey, 8,000 on Odyssey. Thank you guys on Odyssey.
Ooh. Yeah, I spend a lot more time over there lately. I'm starting to get really fed up with YouTube.
Yeah, we got. I've been prioritizing BitChute because it plugs in nicely with the keyword, which I'll have to see if I can get. I'll have to see if I can get. There are plugins for Rumble, but they do weird things, and I guess there is one through Library as well. I'll look into those. We actually have 15 followers over on Twitch. 1 in there right now, no comments. And I don't know how many we have following us. Oh, we have 8 followers over on DLive and nobody watching us over there. All right. The dude in the one panel looks like Kylie Catern.
No wonder I can't download anything. You're plugging up the internet so nobody else can use it.
Well, I mean, it's just the Linode. I'm only feeding my data feed into Linode, and then my Linode has a restreaming server built into it that's just deploying it to everywhere else. Now I need to see if I can get Linode able to cross-post things directly to the different channels. That'd be fun to see if I can get a script written for that. So I just have to drop it into a folder on Linode, have a cron job run, and then just push it. That'd be awesome. BitChute's biggest issue, no live streams, and it's only 480p. That is one of the reasons I like it, is the 480p, because I don't need much higher than that, generally speaking. And I did find some other things like Rumble. Like if I'm watching Rumble on a browser, I can't say use a lower bit rate because I'm on highly metered internet. I don't need to be watching a stream in 1080p. I'd rather watch it at 480 if I can. So, that's why BitChute first because it connects with the keyword, and then I do YouTube second because I can set the bit rate, and then I go to the other channels if I have to. I'd be on Odyssey if I can remember the password. You should just be able to access it through email because they kind of use like a passwordless type system that I knew. Float between individuals, Odyssey and here. Huge Star Wars fan. There you go. That's all right. Why are you Bobby Baloney and not Boba Fett? I don't know. I can't stand Star Wars after Disney bastardized it.
I can't stand Disney after they did it to themselves.
Yeah.
They are the empire.
So the last thing I'll mention is cost. So your cost is a factor. The biggest downside, as we've mentioned on this stream a few times, is that when you're talking about cost, I don't know why, but every Linux computer you can buy is super high-end and extraordinarily expensive. And that is a wasted opportunity because Linux is the only one of the mainstream operating systems that works super well on a low-spec system. It makes no sense to me. So, like, whether you're talking about System 76, or anything else, it's like, I don't want to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I guess Pine is doing a pretty good job with the low-spec stuff, so that's kind of cool. And I know Tech Haberdashy's running, I think he's running Manjaro on his Pinebook right now, and running very well. So there are a few options out there, although they're not a lot. And cost is, in my opinion, one of the biggest holdouts. But the good news is, if cost is your factor, you can go to Best Buy, pick up an open box computer, and simply install Linux on it. All right, what do you guys think?
I think that one of the good things about the Linux systems is the high expensive systems is that the user is going to get a good experience because the hardware is really fast compared to older systems. So they will have a system that will last for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you go into Best Buy and purchase a computer and take it home, you got a 50-50 chance you'll even get Linux on it.
I disagree. Nearly every computer I have, I picked
My
up
cousin
Best
got
Buy
a
or
brand new
whatever else.
Omen computer, HP. It will not accept anything but Windows.
If you have an absolute spanking brand new, you're going to have a harder time getting something on it. But
the kernel don't have the stuff in it for brand new stuff,
correct.
until it's been out a year.
Not if you go to Best Buy and buy the brand new right off the shelf thing, that's not what I'm talking about. Go to Best Buy and go through their open box stuff and pick something up there. I think I've only had one computer ever I've not successfully got Linux to run on. And that was a weird oddity with an official Atom processor. So what distro did he try to install on it?
We tried actually Ubuntu, Debian, and Manjaro.
Okay.
And the BIOS would not let go of Windows. It wouldn't even let you boot from a USB stick.
Yeah, I mean, I have to see the computer on that one to check. I'd be surprised if you can't, especially in HP has generally been friendly to Linux. I wouldn't buy them because I have a personal vendetta against HP. Screw HP.
That's why I got a Brother printer.
Yeah, but they have been friendly to Linux over the years. I'd be really surprised if you couldn't. I'm wondering if
I got one that's 10 years old. It's really fussy. NV6.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of them chrome-plated jobs with Beats audio in it and stuff.
It's just envious.
It's it's hard to get Linux on it. Even if you can get it, you have to force it to find the USB stick. Then when you do and install it, you got to tell it where the shim x86 file is to EFI boot it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you go through all that crap, it's weird. But then my Dell is just as kind of weird in that sense too, and it's a business grade computer. You got to show it where that boot file is after you install it.
Yeah, some of the Dell's BIOS is like that. I can't remember what the BIOS that is in my newer Ryzen 5 Dell is a nightmare. I hate that stupid BIOS. But to its credit, you can go in. Most of the Dell computers I have, you can go in and you can tell it where to find that file, which is useful because things like Cubes puts the file in a different place, and some operating systems simply can't find it, which is kind of weird. Yeah, some of the Dell computers have a weird BIOS. It's just kind of hit and miss as to what the BIOS is, I think, more often than not.
I think it took me a little bit of learning, and it helped that I had access to the Peppermint development team, to tell me what to do, and I learned something about that computer and others to make things
I don't know.
work out.
What do you guys think in the comments? Is it getting harder to just buy a computer and install Linux to it? I mean, that's kind of news to me because I still do that. But let me know what you guys think.
I think it's touch and go. Another place you can get computers is PC Liquidators. They have like lease turn-ins. That's where I got the Dell I'm talking about here. The best thing I like about this Dell Precision computer, you can take it apart. The bottom comes off, the battery comes out, the processor comes out, the RAM comes out. It's even got a space for an M.3 or M.4, M.2 stick for your SSD stick.
Mark just jumped on. How's it going, Mark? Can you hear us?
Hey, Mark, buddy.
Pretty good. Let me turn off the.
Yeah, I think it's turned it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another consideration. When you're looking at computers, how much of it do you want to take apart?
Yeah, that's a valid
especially
point.
with laptops.
All right,
Yeah,
Mark, can
I
you hear us
think
now?
Just talking about how to select a PC.
Yeah. I think you're a little delayed on
See ya.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something is covering his microphone.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Yep, you got it now? Check,
Yeah.
check. Hey, you're back. All right, how's it going?
Me, I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
All right, not too bad. I think we've covered our main basic points, but Mark, and particularly since you work with clients in building and fixing and stuff computers, what factors do you look at when you're choosing a computer?
Usage case. Certain clients are older; they're not going to require as much hardware.
I
They're
can't
not
hear
gonna
anything.
require the high-end specs.
Yeah, you're
However,
really quiet. Can you boost up your mic at all?
yeah. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
was able to hear a little bit of it. Check back in when you get it boosted up. So he's had use case scenarios, costs, basically things we've already been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that any better at all?
And Commodore fan says we can see your nose hairs.
Yeah, that does surprise me. Fair enough.
Any nose doctors out there? Is Mark doing okay? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, just it really, one thing I would avoid, which is something I've noticed with Windows laptops and stuff running Windows 10, and later in Windows 11 now. Be careful that you make sure you get enough storage if it's soldered on like that. Unfortunately, that is the way most of the low end computers are nowadays, and honestly, some of the high ends are soldered on
Yeah,
memory and storage.
make sure things are not soldered in. I know.
Make sure it's got enough storage.
Yeah, my Lenovo S21e I think has a small M2 chip in it, but the RAM is soldered in. So you can't update the RAM, but you can do you can actually increase the memory.
Yeah, this world's growing more and more dystopian, and that's something I saw coming from a mile away. You can't own anything anymore, hardly as it is.
Correct. Yeah. Anna Rita just jumped on. Greetings, Anna Rita. Comes to selecting PC, it doesn't have the ports I need. It is the brand I prefer, and how easy is it to upgrade? There you go. There's a thought.
With brand, it's really model specific nowadays.
Yeah.
Brand matters less and less. Look at reviews and stuff, and see what others have to say about the specific model. That's what I try to do. But yeah.
Oh, Razzle Review says the trouble is you own a Dell. Oh, those are the pre-built computers I tend to prefer. But I've had really good luck with Dells over the years.
I do too. I have 3 or 4 of them lying around here in an HP.
Yeah. But, I mean, you can have a personal vendetta against Dell. It's okay. I have a personal vendetta against HP. I think that HPs are solid computers. I won't recommend them. Sorry. I have personal vendetta here.
I won't either.
Highly biased personal vendetta.
I won't even buy one of their printers. I made the guy at Staples find me a brother printer that will run with Linux and stuff.
Yeah. If you know what you're doing, you can solder on a new version. But yeah, I wouldn't even try.
Yeah, you just have to watch 5 of the videos on Louis Rossmann's channel, and you're good to go.
There you go. Yeah. Louis Rossmann is he's moved out of New York City now. If you have not heard, he's down in Austin, Texas now.
Yeah, and by the end of the year, the store is also moving.
Let's see. The video is repeating. Checking on comments. Odyssey. The video is repeating here on me, playing for a bit, then repeating a couple seconds once, twice, then continuing. Usually happens when I'm using a VPN. Okay. John Jones, 1970. As long as it's not Jim Jones from the 1970s, is looking for an 11-inch laptop, mainly just for browser or photo editing. What would be a good newer or older? Okay, so an 11-inch laptop, browser and photo editing. I've had a lot of good luck just getting a lower end Inspiron with either an i5 or a Ryzen 5 processor, you will do really well with that. That's what I would say.
11-inch is.
It's kind of
Yeah,
small.
they're
Pretty
making
small.
them smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's almost
There's
like the
some
size of a
options out
Chromebook.
there for 11 and 13-inch now.
Yeah, there's. I still kind of want to buy like a little tiny. The only place I've seen them anymore is like Walmart that have like junky
Netbook.
craplet Windows 10 type things and wipe those and
Yeah.
just try and install Linux on it. It'd be a fun challenge, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
I'd say if you paid enough, it'd do fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
We'll
buy
see.
any of them would.
Upgraded an HP ProBook, works great with cubes. Thanks, Lee. Very good. Let's see. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this one up here. I think we've hit our common things, and I've actually been through most of the comments. So we'll kind of jump off, and because I need to like open up windows or turn on fans or something because it went back up another degree. It's 36 in here again. I'm going to melt. I'm going to melt.
Now, this is an advice. We rarely hear on this channel that you're going to open Windows because.
I know, right? Yes. I'm going to open Windows.
Usually we throw bricks at them.
I know, right. Well, I mean, it's kind of like if Apple had a car, would it have Windows?
No.
No, they have worms.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Ryzen 5 10th generation PC, you're good. Yep.
They're serializing parts now on the new iPhones. I won't have another iPhone past this XR. That's it. That's where I draw the line. That ought to be illegal. That's criminal in my opinion.
Yeah. What is again?
So they're serializing the parts, which means
Oh, yeah.
you can buy genuine Apple parts to repair with, and they're still not going to work.
No. You can't even buy genuine Apple parts because they lock it out unless they're like quote unquote black market or stolen out of the factory.
Yeah.
But that is a reason not to use Apple. Just doing that. DieMaster uses an Intel Nuke for Mint. Yeah.
Run for the hills.
Well, Lewis actually did a video where Apple does have a repair program where you can buy a screen or some of the parts, but you have to rent the tools from Apple to put the parts in it.
And do they have the ability
for like
to
$50 a week?
do they have the ability to go in there and reflash the serialization so that they actually works with genuine Apple parts?
Correct.
That's one of the things you have to provide when you are ordering the part. You have to provide.
No, that's where they got you on parts. They got you on tools. Now they got to get you. They got to get you on firmware upgrade.
Yeah, and
They're
you got to send the phone in the end anyway.
Yeah, and why that's not illegal is beyond me because that's exactly what the car companies were doing. And they were forced to open it up, and that's why
Tesla's a big infringer of that. They only give you 66% of your battery unless you pay a subscription to get the other 33%.
I mean, screw Tesla and every other electric car for that matter, because the idea behind the electric cars is just to get people into the digital system, which I'm not interested in that.
One reason for having a Tesla is. There was someone said a couple of years ago that one good reason for having a Tesla is that you and I think some of the other electric cars also have this. If you choose the right charger, it can also power your house if the power is out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but there's way, 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 way cheaper options to do that.
Yeah, it's an expensive UPS.
Yeah.
It is my mobile UPS. Really, how mobile is it? I'll just drive it right on over. Show up in the car, plug in. Yeah. And I like it's cool to be able to power something off of your vehicle, but you really do want that isolation so that your starting engine and stuff is not compromised. Well, if you fall asleep with your awesome computers on and you're middle of a campground in the middle of nowhere and you drew all your Tesla batteries down to nothing. Yeah.
Hey, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right. Whereas me, I mean, I can do similar things. In fact, at camp, we were dividing people out, and there was a lady that was out doing DNA isolation with the kids over there, and she was just kind of beyond our parking lot. She's like, I gotta figure out how to run an extension cord. I'm like, why? My van is right there. So I just took the little extension cord, just a little 20-footer, and just plugged it into my inverter in the van, and she was able to run all of her DNA equipment off of my van's inverter, but that doesn't mess with my engine system at all. That's all an isolated system.
Yeah.
So it was
That makes a lot of sense. I certainly wouldn't want to be mixing the two. That would not be good.
Yeah, and it's possible too, but that's why I run a DC-DC charger as an engine charger instead of what's called a BIM, battery isolation module, which the BIM, when you install it, when you're driving, it will toggle between charging your house battery and charging your engine battery, and it toggles back and forth. And it's like, man, if you have a weak engine battery, that's going to mess things up. And if you have lithium batteries, that's really going to mess things up because the lithium will draw as much power off of your alternator as the alternator is capable of doing, and it will burn your alternator out. That's why I don't run a BIM. There's a lot of problems with it. And so, thinking about the power, though, you want to isolate things. I would not want to be, oh, look, I can run my house off my Tesla. Ha ha. Yeah, that's a gimmick. And when you need your car, that's kind of problematic.
There are people that know just enough about a subject matter to get themselves in trouble, and then need somebody that knows what they're doing. And then
$88 Chromebook at Wally World. Ooh, should I buy an $88 Chromebook at Wally World? Am I the only one who finds that Epic Games and GOG games are not working in Linux anymore, unlike earlier version? Dan, GOG games should be working.
I haven't installed a recent GOG game, but I do have some that I don't use the GOG launcher. I just get the game and install it in Lutris using Wine.
Okay.
And run it from Lutris. I think I can give you an idea. Let me open. I haven't opened Lutris in a while.
So it won't work with Steam Proton right now?
I have for Lutris. Okay, I got Horizon Zero Dawn. That game works in Lutris, but the game controller does not. But it works with Steam. I returned that game because the game controller wouldn't work.
Gotcha.
Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is a really good modern game that runs in Lutris. Medium's not that old. That runs in Lutris. All of the Dishonored games run in Lutris, and so does Control. Control's kind of weird because it's the Bureau of Control.
Yeah.
It's like a house in Washington, D.C. It's got all the bad stuff in it, and it's not allowed to get out. You got to keep it contained from the underworld.
Yeah. All right. Give us your final words, everybody, on how to choose a computer. Ivan, what are your final words?
Well, I think that, it's like if you know what you're going to be doing and you know your OS, stuff like that. Let's say you wanted to go with something Linux and go your own route. You could probably find good hardware deals on something like eBay or even Craigslist or something. Going in, that's taking, if you want to dive in and try to have that personal experience on being like, hey, look what I built, or something even related to it. But, it's like, if you know what you need to be doing and you know what you're going to need as far as specifications and hardware specifications and everything like that, it's like, you could do something like eBay or Craigslist or do something out of a big box store or something online, something like that. So it's just like, hey, as long as you know what you've got going on, or you're doing the research on it, then you can find a way to get it done.
Absolutely. Dan, final words.
When it comes to looking for computers, especially laptops, take your time and do some research. Make some notes about what you really want. I mean, do you want full access to the inside of your computer? The pickings are kind of really thin on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just remove the battery and the rest of it's fine? I prefer that I want to at least take the battery out and at least remove the hard drive with minimal trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe take the RAM out. The rest of it can stay in it. But
Yeah.
yeah, take your time. There's places, that you can look. Don't be afraid to look at some places like PC liquidations where they take in lease returns. The one I got was extremely nice. As a matter of fact, they shipped me one. It was supposed to come with a camera in it. They didn't ship it with a camera. It was a cameraless one, but I kept it anyways because it was in pristine condition.
Mm-hmm.
And I just simply took out the SSD. They shipped me with it because they put Windows on it. And when I turned it on and wanted to ask me all these personal Windows questions, I'm like, screw this. So I grabbed another
Mm-hmm.
SSD and plugged it in, and then I had to figure out in the BIOS how to make it see the stuff to boot from on the new SSD. But I got it all figured out working, and it's a fabulous computer.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, the other place to look at if you're near a university, often sell off old equipment, which is oftentimes a public store. So you can check those out. I know at Penn State I bought a couple really good computers down there for like $75. Then they were really good. In fact,
Yeah, I
I'm
know
sitting
you-
on one of them. I keep one of them in this bin. It hasn't been turned on in like 2 years, but it's a backup in case something catastrophic happens to one of the other ones. It's actually a good, solid i5 mini tower that, I mean, I'd have to run it off my inverter, but better to have it here and not need it,
yeah, the
it doesn't take
University
up
of
long.
Michigan has a store where they sell off the obsolete stuff they're not using anymore,
Yep.
to the public.
Yeah. Salbu, final words from you.
Yeah, in addition to what Dan said, if you're buying a desktop system, then I don't think there are any systems yet where you don't have access to the inside. Desktop systems is the very definition of an open system, um, um, uh, unless you need to carry it around, and in which case a laptop is highly preferred, of course.
Mm.
But
Well,
yeah,
All
yeah.
of my Dell computers, I can open up and swap everything out. And Dell computer parts,
Very
there's
nice.
entire stores just dedicated to Dell computer parts. That's why that laptop I bought, I suspect they were selling it so cheap because I think they knew there was a problem with the charging port. But I bought that computer for $120, $130. It's a Ryzen 5 computer. It is an absolutely amazing computer, and I think they they probably knew the charging port was bad and were hoping that somebody would buy it, would see it worked or whatever else. And so I buy it, and I kind of figure out about a couple weeks later it wasn't working. The charging port for that computer is $7, and it took me 20 minutes to install it. That is an otherwise $700, $800 computer. Bought it at a pawn shop.
So figure out what you're going to do with it, and then buy something that is a little more powerful than you need, because then it will last longer than if you are buying just what you need.
Another thing to consider is if you're going to do a lot of virtual machines, you're going to need at least 16 gigs of RAM or more.
Yeah.
Well,
if you're doing VMs, you want a lot of RAM.
You're doing a lot of virtual machines.
Mark, give us your final words.
You what now?
Give us your final words.
Yeah, final words. I would just say, again, consider what you're using it for and allow yourself a little room for growth, because I know a lot of times I've had a client purchase 2 inexpensive Walmart computers a couple of different times, whereas she had spent it all at once on a better computer, she wouldn't have had the issue with the Windows 10 upgrades, because they stopped letting you upgrade your Windows 10 to the latest feature pack with the flash drive. Now they're forcing you to have it internal. So in her particular computer, it does not allow for any expansion that I'm aware of. I've got to look specifically into that, but I don't think it allows for any expansion whatsoever, unless just the memory, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, look around. Depending on the laptops, like I said, the Dells have, in my experience, even the new Dells are very, very expandable. But
That's
hunt
what
around
I'm going with next.
and
because
do
based on
a,
your-
a test to see what you can do or can't do.
Yeah. Based on Tom's experience in recent years and their modularity, it's really nice. And I think if I get a laptop in the future, that's probably the route I'm going to go with is a Dell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I usually just hunt around and look for deals too. So
Yeah.
there's that. All right. We are premiering a video over on the Christian channel. We are starting a new prophet. We've been going through the minor prophets in the Old Testament, and we are on Joel. So Joel chapter 1 at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 1 hour from now. That is premiering. You can jump on over there. I put that in the description or in the comments here, the live feed. Let me go ahead and throw it everywhere too. I forgot
it's
we're
good to hear
streaming more
it.
places than just YouTube right now. So
That's a small book of the Bible, but an excellent one.
It's good that you are promoting Joel Richardson.
yeah, I know, right? And Joel Osteen, all these Joel guys.
Yeah.
That kid from camp.
Oh man.
Go to Christian camp. Of course, there's gonna be a kid there named after a prophet. The one camp we had we had a whole group of kids. We're all sitting there, and they all had one was Elijah and one was Isaiah, and there's a bench full of prophets over there. But so we are going through the Old Testament prophets. So we're talking about Joel chapter 1, some of the questions about it, and what it means in our modern era. So jump on over there. All right. For the rest of you guys that think I'm a right-wing conspiracy theorist because we co-streamed over to Rumble, that's okay. You're just watching a right-wing conspiracy theorist simply because evidence. No other evidence than this. He's streaming on Rumble.
Egads.
But we did cross 1,000 subscribers over there on Rumble. Thank you guys for that. Of course, you can watch all of the replays of the videos on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute.
Very happy to see you branching out even further, brother. That's all.
There you go. All right, guys.
Clogging up the internet.
Yeah, I'm clogging up the internet. Well, anyway, we'll wrap this one up here. Tomorrow, weekly news roundup. Hopefully, I can find a good spot to stream from. I'm still looking at my maps, going, where am I going to be tomorrow? I don't even know. But anyway, we will catch you guys later, and have yourselves a wonderful evening.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Thanks for coming out.